Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world watching this live coverage of the 2021 IndyCar iRacing series. Thank you so much for joining us here on VirtualRacing.Network. My name is Trevor Greenfield, and as I mentioned, this is round 6 of the 2021 IndyCar iRacing series, and we are so pleased to have you join us for this ongoing coverage of this thrilling championship here that has been rapidly developing over the first 5 races, pretty much saying the same 3 names each week: Henry Bennett, Hugo Olsson, and Adam Crane. But there are some newcomers to the series and some that just haven't been participating quite as much, who are making themselves known in recent races and at the top. But here we get set for qualifying, and we're watching on Chris Willite as he takes to the track and begins his qualifying effort here. Of course, this is the top split. My name is Trevor Greenfield, your host and commentator. I've been with you all season through the first 5 rounds, and now we get to round 6 here of the Detroit Grand Prix at Belle Isle. So there has, of course, been another race already this week in the series, and in that race, as we watch Henry Bennett here get ready for his opening qualifying lap, in that race, it was 4 of the top 6 starters. So of the top 6 positions, 4 of those starters not making it to the checkered flag, crashing out along the way or having other issues. And instead it was current championship leader now after this race, Adam Crane, taking the victory in that first race of the week. So this being the second race of the week, and the one that we broadcast here on Fridays at 11 Pacific time, 2 o'clock Eastern time. This one actually has a higher strength of field. I believe it was estimated 3,248 on my screen when we got into the race today. And glad to see as many participants as we are. I think it was somewhere around 76 to 78. Can't quite remember the number. So this being week 13 in the normal IndyCar and iRacing season, it's just great to see so many drivers sticking around and participating in the series. So in this race today, we'll be having 25 participants, and we watch our first times come in. There's Riley Thompson with a 113.36. Now, Riley is a name that we haven't been mentioning all season because he hasn't been on too many of our broadcasts, but here he is along with Danilo Piazza just behind him, and Doriano Ricciuti, excuse me, small writing on my screen, Richard Crozier, and now we see Brendan Burcroft put in a flyer there to come up into third. So we still are waiting for Henry Bennett to put in his second lap while we watch Riley Thompson here finishing off his qualifying lap. Very close out to the wall there. Now this is a very difficult section to get quite right, but his car not having any difficulty, hugs those curves very well, and does it go faster on his second lap? He does, a 112.95 for Riley Thompson. So Riley there, having completed his qualifying effort, we now see Moritz Hengelhaupt move up into second place, taking over for Dan Piazza there, who's now slid back into third. Moritz is a name you may recognize from our recent broadcast over at the Indianapolis Grand Prix. He did quite well. And so we're seeing some drivers finishing up here. We've got Brendan Burkhoff here, who got 4th place qualifying for his effort. Quite a surprise. And then also Severi Seppa here in 6th place. Henry Bennett, it appears, only a 114.93 on his previous lap, on his first lap. So we'll see if he can put in a faster lap here on the second one. And he does. He moves up into second place with a 113.94, or excuse me, a 113.89 on our timing. And as you can see, I mean, that's almost a full second off of pole sitter Riley Thompson's time. So we take a look over here also at Andrew Marquez, who is now completing his second lap. He is on a flyer. Pleasure to have Andrew joining us in this championship fight here. He's been a big part of the Indy Road Open series and is a front runner in that series as well. Did excellently this last season. And Andrew able to join us over on Broadcast Friday here on the IndyCar iRacing series on VirtualRacing.Network. What is Andrew going to be able to do with this second lap as we await to find out? And here he comes around start finish. Will he be able to improve his time? Does not appear so. So he qualifies 9th position for today's race. And we wait for this to go official. But you may see a couple of very familiar names for those of you who have been joining us. Still do have a couple of cars on track. I'll try to see who is left. Stefan Petrat actually is still putting in a qualifying here. You may, as I was mentioning, you may notice that a few of the drivers that are in the championship are not present in today's race. Adam Crane letting us know over in the chat room. I do appreciate it. Haven't been back over into chat, but I do appreciate it. Lots of people over chatting in the chat room, and we actually are breaking a new record. 10 consecutive viewers at the moment, so thank you everybody for joining us. But Adam Crane letting us know over in the chat room that he's actually got personal commitments going on, so he has already raced earlier in the week. Now, by my estimation, that means that Hugo Olsson, when he races later this week, will need to get 164 points, I believe it is, in order to overcome Adam Crane in the points once again. So, but we do have Henry Bennett in this race, and I will do my best to try to calculate. I believe it's just over 200 points that Henry would need in order to be able to overtake Adam Crane in the points today with this race. So we lose the feed momentarily as we go official. This is your starting order for the round 6 of the IndyCar iRacing series, and Riley Thompson comes out of nowhere. For those of you who have been watching around the IndyCar scene, seen the league, seen the Open Series, etc., you know who Riley is. Very skilled driver. Making his statement, the American driver, is by claiming pole position. Second place, Henry Bennett. Third, Moritz Engelhaupt. Fourth, Cesar Manzato. Fifth, Danilo Piazza. Sixth, Stefan Petrat. Seventh, Brendan Burcroft. Eighth, Severi Seppa. Ninth, Ricciuti. And 10th, Marquez. 11th, Mateus Kraus. Actually our 5th place driver in the championship points at the moment. 12th place, Richard Crozier. And we get ready to go here at this beautiful virtual day. We'll take a look at the remaining drivers in the field. And 13th, Finland. 14th, Kovacs. 15th, Alexis Newsom. Good to have her joining us. Robin Lennox, one of our championship contenders, trapped back in 16th place. 17th, Gomez. 18th, Willite. Zabe and Laura Gerhardt. Christian Steele not putting in a time. Lamb, Slavanik, and Hagland complete our running order. Oh, I believe there's one more. Paul Jourdain in 25th. So those drivers not setting a time. And we sit here on the backstretch getting ready to go. While we have just one moment, let's go ahead and take a look at the series points as it stands right now. Adam Crane in the lead of the championship over Hugo Olsson and Henry Bennett. Severi Seppa 4th and Matthias Kraus 5th. Now, the things to note up there is the drivers that have been in the race on Wednesday, they are shown here on your screen. And the rest of the drivers not having completed. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are green here in Detroit as Riley Thompson leads us to the green flag. Henry Bennett in second place, Moritz Hengelhop third. We take a look further back. I'm not seeing any issues a little bit further back. A couple of drivers making move. Hengelhop diving to the outside, not able to pull it off on Bennett. A little bit further back, we've got some issues potentially between, as we see a driver drop off there, perhaps having a connection issue. We've got a note that Marcel Kovacs has crashed. So here we can see, yes, having big problems, ripped off the left wing there, the left front wing, gone. So Kovacs crashing, and then I'm getting another note that he's crashed yet again, so really having a difficult time. Looks like Richard Crozier might also be suffering a problem a little bit further back. But it is Riley Thompson with the clean air and the clean race so far. No problems. Bennett in second, Hengelhop third, Cesar Manzato in fourth. That's right where he qualified. Piazza fifth. I'm sorry, Piazza, yes, fifth. Petrat sixth. And we're seeing that Matthias Kraus is having an issue. We'll go to the live picture instead, and I can't determine exactly what went wrong for Matthias Kraus, but it looks like damage, and Matthias Kraus there with no front wing has fallen off the back, now getting that wing repaired. So in the meantime, back up front, we look at Riley Thompson, who now leads Henry Bennett by 2.3 seconds, already opening up quite a bit of a gap there. Let's see if we can change over our graphics so we can show you the gap times at the top of the screen. And here we have Finland has crashed. Colin Finland having an incident here. Oh, just getting it wrong into the wall, and then moments later, there it's just behind. Paul Jourdain has crashed, and we have a note that, oh, and I believe that's Alex Hagland has gotten into that, as well as potentially Laura Gearhart. I'm not sure about, there's Laura there, and oh, and Laura gets crashed into from behind. Just a rough go of it here for Laura. Looks like some damage to the rear. And the Starbucks green machine will roll on. Those drivers, or those pit crew and the team back and at the shop are going to be working overnight. I sure hope they have a lifetime supply of that coffee to keep them working on all that damage. Back up front, Riley Thompson having absolutely no issues whatsoever. And we have a note that Bruno Lamb has also crashed. This Oh, just gets it wrong there, exiting the corner a little bit, and I don't know if contact is made, but no damage, no foul, I suppose. So, meanwhile, we're looking at a number of drivers. Everybody after the 10th place position has made some sort of a move frontways or backways, but nobody in the top 10 making a single move. So everybody, I think, just trying to keep it together and hold on with these tires and hope that something doesn't happen that takes you out of this race. That's the main key here today, is there is just so much that you can lose by getting it wrong, getting it into the wall, having somebody else come up and just tap you into the wall. All of these sorts of things can easily come up and ruin your day. So just staying clean is probably the biggest, is probably the best strategy that one could probably hope for today. So Henry Bennett here leads what you can effectively call the chase group if you're a cycling fan. Somebody brought that up the other day, and I thought that might be the way that we refer to these from now on. But this first group that is separated by over 4 seconds from the very speedy Riley Thompson. Riley, the last lap was a 15.1, Henry Bennett a 15.6. So now, some things to consider if you're looking at this. Bennett must be aware of the championship situation. He understands that, yes, he would love to get first place and get all of those points, but in realistics, if his other two main rivals in the series are not racing, essentially he just needs to collect the maximum amount of points in this high strength of field race, and he very well may overcome Adam Crane in the points by the time this is through. Now, Adam could, of course, race in one of our remaining race slots that are yet to come for this week. So it's a very interesting strategy. It is not, in that way, it is not like real life. You don't just get one race, or in the case of real life at the IndyCar at Detroit this week. Oh, and anyway, they're there for just 2 races, but these guys get 5, guys and girls get 5 attempts, and we can see Doriano Ricciuti crashing, getting it just wrong there, a little sideways, no good. And here, Loic Zabé getting a little too much on the gas, same place. Just once again, these tires starting to kick off. And now we're getting another note. Gomez here, Adriano Gomez into the walls, backs it in just in front of our leaders. That was, or just in front of second place Henry Bennett there, so that would have been just moments after Riley Thompson had gone by. So this driver here, Riley Thompson, just quietly, methodically moving ahead here. And we can see that, let's see what this battle is like right now. I'm getting some conflicting notes. But Riley Thompson just having absolutely no issues getting through this race, just confident. And unfortunately, I think what we're seeing here on our screen is, I believe Richard Crozier is having a connection issue. And this is something you have to deal with. As you can see Christian Steele on the screen, is a question as to whether he can even see Richard Crozier at the moment, because Richard appears to be blinking in and out. This is something, again, you know, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you the way it is as somebody who actually races in the service. I mean, and other commentators do, of course, also race in the service, but I'm saying these netcode things are a real part of racing, and it's not all this, it's not all as polished when you're doing these races as you would like. Sometimes you have to race against drivers that are blinking in and out, and some of the worst case scenario, they're hopping up and down and the netcode causes them to crash into walls, and you're wondering whether they actually crashed or not. Fortunately, that's very few and far between, and the quality of the online netcode continues to get better and better and better. In the meantime, as I digress, it's Henry Bennett still leading this train. It is Henry Bennett, Moritz Engelhaupt, Cesar Manzato. Here's Moritz Engelhaupt in the very familiar Aero Schmidt-Peterson replica livery. Cesar Manzato. I'm sorry. Of course, that's McLaren. I should have mentioned. Cesar Manzato running in 4th place. He has been a huge part of this series and is definitely one of the fastest drivers that we have in the field week in and week out. Piazza, extremely quick driver. Had a chance to race in some of the same sessions as Piazza, and he is lightning fast. So is this driver behind, Stefan Petrat, who our cameras seem to have a little trouble finding at the moment, but there he is, Stefan Petrat, running in 6th. Those top 6 drivers have not whatsoever changed any positions, and so overall, Stefan Petrat 9 seconds back to the leader, Riley Thompson. Now we move back into 7th, up 1 position, Severi Seppa, the Finnish driver, racing for 3 Crowns. Oh, nope, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's Indy Alliance 3 Crowns Racing. Make sure I get that right. Andrew Marquez, definite, as I mentioned before, front runner and usually front of the pack qualifier. This is very tough competition, as is the Indy Open Series, in which Marquez also competes. And so Marquez is actually, it's kind of surprising to me to see him in 8th, but don't be surprised if you see him up at the front at the end. He seems to be able to hold on to that car and really understand these tires and how they might go off. This, Christian Steele, Team I5G driver, one of the, if not the first time that we've seen him racing here on Broadcast Friday. We're keeping an eye, meanwhile, as we go through lap 10 of 53, watching for any movement up front. Looks like the top 6 still just very content to stay put where they're at. We move back. Now, I should mention Christian Steele did not qualify. And by the way, Christian Steele up 12 positions, so he may, in his very first week, earn our Hard Charger Award. We will have to see. This driver, 10th place, the number 11 car, Doriano Ricciuti. Great to have you joining us this week. The Italian driver is running, as I mentioned, in 10th, lost a position on the start. Here's Richard Crozier. We're just mentioning the potential connection issues just a moment ago, still dropping off the screen there. Rob Unglenix, our championship contender. I've actually raced this track with Rob in a previous season. We had a great race that he was leading in, but I tell you what, those walls are vicious out there. You get it a little bit wrong in one corner. You know, even if you're leading, you're up by seconds at a time like Riley Thompson is at the moment. And just like this, just like that, you touch the wall there and you spin out. And that is Doriano Ricciuti dropping backwards now in 12th position. So just as I was saying that, there's almost like a direct connection between me saying things and them happening on the track. I'll try not to abuse that privilege, ladies and gentlemen. So back in the chat room, yeah, of course we do want to know what the track temp is. That's an excellent question. Is there a button I can push? Oh, well, there it is. I see that I did not, once again, update this side so that it's in Fahrenheit and Imperial. So all of you international people outside of the United States are very comfortable and happy. But 41 degrees Celsius, and And that is not the hottest in the world that we've run at, but when we get to Road America next week, it very well may be significantly hotter. So tire fall off is a problem here. None of the front runners electing, as far as I can see, to run. And we've actually got news here. If we see, this was moments ago, Moritz Engelhaupt on the outside of Henry Bennett, holding tough and pulling off the move for second place. It was, of course, Engelhaupt, and now we're getting more news of more crashes. This is Loic Zabé just moments ago. What happened? And same place, just loops it coming onto the front stretch, just a little bit too much on the tires for that moment. Tries to back it around and get it into the pits. But it says he's crashed, and he's crashed yet again since this. So, broken machine here, trying to get around the final couple of corners to get to the start-finish line, and almost collects one of the front runners. That is Henry Bennett getting by. That was Engelhaupt just barely escaping doom there. Would be great if I could back that up and see it from that standpoint. Let's see if we can go on board with Henry Bennett's view of that. It was so close. Maybe from Engelhaupt's point of view. Engelhaupt comes around the corner, sees the crash damage, and has to make a decision going to the outside. So scary. Bennett not quite facing the same difficulty. That was very close. And here we can see another crash. Adriano Gomez on the front straight just as you come around that corner. Now, once again, that's just another typical place. I would have to say a tire related incident, because the car gets very bouncy and wants to get very light in that moment. And certainly if the tires are starting to go off, that is where you will loop it. Very easy to do. It's actually one of those sections where on the first laps of the race, or excuse me, when you're exiting the pits on cold tires, you really have to be careful in that little section, because the car gets so unsettled that it can loop it right there as you exit the pits. So this track, extremely treacherous in a couple of different ways, but it's also a bit of a groove track, and once you get settled into that groove, very easy to lull yourself to a false sense of security, go to sleep a little bit, and you wake up with the car deciding to dance one direction or the other, and that's when you get these little scrapes up against the wall. And really, as I've said before, this car just loves to get those scrapes that don't even register as 0x, and then all of the sudden you've got a damaged race car and bent steering, and your spotter tells you you've got a bent steering, so you need to come in. The 0x's very frequently will trigger a meatball flag, a black on yellow flag. That means you do have to immediately pit. So once again, as we look through the top six, it's Riley Thompson, Moritz Engelhaupt here in second, who's managed to pull out a full second, actually now 2 seconds, on Henry Bennett. Bennett leading this train, which includes Cesar Manzato, Danilo Piazza, Stefan Petrat, and Severi Seppa, who is now 2.56 seconds adrift of Stefan Petrat. Andrew Marquez up 2 positions today, finding himself in the 8th position, and just behind on the approach is Christian Steele, on the attack rather. I think he senses that perhaps this position with Andrew Marquez could be his as we just now crest the 16 lap mark for this race. 16 laps of 53. And here a little bit further back, one of our championship contenders getting past on track. Ricciuti getting around Rob Unglenix. Possibly Rob suffering from some issues. It does appear he's dropped back a little bit off of the pace. His last lap, a 1:16.7, while the leaders are doing 1:15s at the moment. So Richard Crozier still blinking and still running in the 10th position, up 2 positions. Doriano Ricciuti in 11th has, of course, lost 2 positions. All right, well, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of a momentary technical issue to overcome. It's the joy of doing live broadcasting, I suppose. Lap 24, we have Riley Thompson here in first place, Henry Bennett in second. Riley obviously completing his pit stop, so we'll get all of that graphics off the screen. Can hide the track map for the moment. Henry Bennett 11 seconds back up the track. Henry doing this last lap a 1:15.30, and just behind we have Danilo Piazza, just 1.5 seconds back. The Italian turning in a 1:15.49 the last lap. So everybody in the same ballpark. Cesar Manzato 1:15.22. And Christian Steele a 1:15.50. Now Christian Steele, as I mentioned, up 16 positions on the day, just doing a fantastic job for himself. And who knows, maybe we'll get a chance to see more racing from Mr. Steele as we go forward. He certainly has the talent and the capability to take on any of the front runners. So here, Andrew Marquez up 4 positions, sitting in 6th. And then we move back to 7th. It's Severi Seppa, who had a moment just a while ago, but appears to have collected himself and is now running up a position on the day in 7th. So possibly Daniel Ricciuti having an issue. We'll look into that. In the meantime, and there was that Henry Bennett? No, someone, Paul Jourdain, had crashed. Go to the correct car. Paul Jourdain there into the tires. I saw that sort of medium color and the red Firestone firewalls there. Firestone Firehawks there, and I thought to myself, it's Henry Bennett. It was not Henry Bennett. Nevertheless, no good for Paul. Looks like he's escaped and back out of his cockpit for the day. That'll do it for Paul as he falls out of 19th. He had made up 6 positions today, so tough running for him. So everybody with a bit of a gap now. We're looking at 1.2 seconds from Henry Bennett shown here to Danilo Piazza. And Cesar Manzato 4 seconds adrift of that. Christian Steele here 5.4 seconds back from Cesar Manzato. As we get into this second stint, this is where the championship drivers really earn their points. These long green flag stints. Of course, there being no yellow flags in road course racing at the moment on iRacing, so no full course yellows. That is, you do get a local yellow, but no full course yellows, so no pace car driving except for the first lap, and that tends to create some very long green flag runs and therefore long gaps as well. And here we've got Andrew Marquez in 6th, 4 positions gained. Severi Seppa at the moment in 7th, a position up. Brendan Burcroft there in 8th, down a position. Richard Crozier in 9th, and then 10th, Robin Glennick still holding on despite the earlier issues, now running 10th place, up 6 places, so still may salvage something good out of this, although he is under attack from Doriano Ricciuti, excuse me, and Ricciuti easily by. So move Rakuti back up one position and Unglenix back. Chris Willite off the pace as we tune in here. Has something happened? Not entirely sure what is going on with Willite. The purple machine there, really kind of an electric color, very unique. And Matthias Kraus, currently, I believe, are 5th place. Let's see if we can bring that up on the screen. Let me take a look at that real quick. As soon as I can get some of these other things off the screen. Right, so here you can see once again our points. Matthias Kraus in 5th, and Rob Unglenix, again, he did run on Wednesday, and so I don't believe he collected as many points as he would have liked, but he still has run and the others have not. So Severi Seppa in this race, he will move further ahead undoubtedly of Rob and Matthias Kraus as well. If he were to overcome Rob in this race, certainly would put more distance between he and Rob. So it's, as I mentioned before, interesting to run this championship and all of these official series championships. It's some definite strategy that you have to keep in mind, and that's what makes it difficult. There's a lot of strategy. You don't just show up for one race and have it be over like a league race many times. So Riley Thompson here, just getting it done. 11 seconds up on Henry Bennett. As he looks to put Doriano Rakuti there, the 11 car, a lap down. And Rakuti doing the great gentlemanly thing, just kind of letting Riley go by. He knows he has nothing to gain by fighting the leader as he comes through. And I think a lot of other drivers greatly appreciate when drivers will do that. So let's take a look at how everyone is running back in the pack. We do have Matthias Kraus here, as I was just mentioning. He's running in 13th. He's 2 positions back on the day. This is Laura Gearhard. Laura did come in contact for a moment with other drivers, knocking the wings loose. Looks like Laura got the car repaired okay and is back in 14th position, 6 positions gained. Now, I know Laura has been competing for a long time in the IndyCars on iRacing, and I'm sure Laura would be up further had there not been a little bit of difficulty today. So Laura under attack here as the leaders actually go by. That was Henry Bennett. And just behind you see, of course, Danilo Piazza. So this battle going on right now is about the closest on track for second place. And of course, for Henry, championship points at stake. He desperately wants something. Well, let's not say that, but he would love to have the points that are available should he come home in the first place. Yeah, let's put it that way. I think as a competitor, you don't really care how you get those points, just that they sort of come your way and that you look at the end and you end up on the top of the points. But either way, Riley Thompson, as Henry would know, as we actually all compete together in the Elite Series, and they all compete in many other series as well. Henry would know Riley is no pushover, and he certainly is not very likely to make a mistake. So I think in once again, in the championship mindset, you got to be looking at the long game. And just after Rob Unglenix had made a pass around Severi Seppa, this happens. I don't know what took place there. This was right in front of the leaders. We have Adriano Gomez is who this is. Now, it appears as though Gomez takes an alternate line. See if we can see that one more time as he heads into the corner. He was a bit wide. It appears as though he didn't turn in early enough. I'm not really sure what happened there. It may have been a technical glitch. It's very difficult to tell. Meanwhile, this was on board from Rob, and yeah, Rob is just trying to break. Maybe he's a little hot into the corner. He's trying to break down for the corner, and then this with Marcel Kovacs, and just can't get the car turned. What happened? Marcel tries to get the car turned to the right. It wants to hug to the left. So I think once again we're just getting to the point where some of these drivers are really starting to struggle with the degradation of these tires. We have another note that Rob and Glennick's having an off track. Oh, just clouts the wall. That was directly in front of Henry Bennett. Undoubtedly, he had some damage from that previous accident with Gomez, and prevented him from making the corner, and unfortunately tore off another part of the wing. So once again, Henry Bennett, if we could go back and take a look at that just one more time and look at it from Henry Bennett's point of view, there's another potential landmine in front waiting to explode as you go by. Manages to dive around the British driver, Henry, back up in control of second position, actually moving away a little bit, coming up on 7/10 away from Danilo Piazza. And here, Cesar Manzato has moved into the pits. So the North Sim Racing Team driver from Italy comes in for his final... Will this be his final stop? Potentially his final stop. It's got 20 laps to go. I'm not sure that he can get the full 20 laps out of it. That would be a lot. But we shall see. It's actually right on time, so I think that he is going for the undercut strategy, Cesar is, and we'll have to see how that works out. He'll have to get a very good outlap here, and it looks like he now has clean track to do that with. And we can see Robin Glennick is in the pits to fix that damage. He has spent a bit of time now on pit road. As we look back at the front, Riley Thompson, he was one of our last pitters, last stopping on lap... let's see, lap 23. So he's going to go another few more laps until he pits. And so we just expect any of these drivers to kind of blink now at the front. This is the undercut overcut strategy. This is all about, can you get a clean outlap? Are you currently trapped behind somebody who might be hampering your speed? Would it be better to dive into the pits? Who can hold on to the tires the best over the course of the stint? All of these things come into play, and it's a definite strategy move. It's one that could cost you or gain you several seconds on your competition. But for someone like Riley Thompson, who's up front and walking away with this race, to be quite honest, from our second place driver here, Henry Bennett, 13 seconds up on Bennett at the moment. Riley just getting it done. Last lap of 1:14.93 to Bennett's 1:15.30. Currently, Riley the only driver in the 114s. And this has occurred. Doriano Ricciuti, we lost momentarily coverage. I'm not sure if the car was damaged or not. We're getting another note that says Christian Steele has slowed and not crashed. Our note just generically says crash, so we really don't know what we're going to be seeing, but there he continues on, really struggling with that car in turn 1. So potentially problems starting to happen for Christian Steele, and he may be thinking about a pit stop to get new tires anytime now. So still 18 drivers running here today. Out of the race at the moment, Stefan Petrat, Loic Zabé, Colin Finland, Bruno Lamb, Alexis Newsom, Alex Hagland, and Paul Slavonic. All these drivers out of the race at the moment. As we see Chris Willite now in the pits, and also Christian Steele just now getting underway. So we wait to see where will Steele rejoin. He left in 4th place. And he is, you can see Cesar Manzato just approaching in the background there. So Cesar on hot tires. And Cesar has done his second stop, as we mentioned. He was the first to do so. So the undercut strategy potentially actually paying off here for Cesar Manzato. Of course, Steele having that issue and with going a little bit deep into turn 1, and the undercut strategy giving you fresher tires is going to help you to avoid that kind of a thing happening. Doesn't mean it's the right move or the wrong move. You can technically spend less time filling the tank if you go longer, so you can gain some of that time back. But it's a very strong calculation to make. And here, Riley Thompson, of course, in first, but it's Henry Bennett with Danilo Piazza under a second behind, and then it's 37 seconds adrift. You've got, from Henry Bennett, is Andrew Marquez. Then the first driver to have stopped is Christian Steele, shown here in 5th place, up 16 positions today. Quite an astounding feat for Mr. Steele, who did not put in a qualifying time. It says rip audio. So, I don't know when that came in. Hopefully, rip audio was an old note from Adam, but nevertheless, I will continue talking as though I did not rip the audio and we are not dead, because my views say that we're good. So let's continue watching this ever unfolding battle. 15 laps to go here at Detroit, and we wait to see when Riley Thompson, who perhaps has already pitted while I was fooling around looking at other things. Here we go. Andrew Marquez, it appears. Let's see, this was, that might have been before. No, Andrew Marquez did get around Christian Steele. And now Christian Steele, that was just coming out of the pit. So that note, a bit old. But Marquez just 0.6 of a second ahead of Christian Steele at the moment. And Steele and Marquez having an issue there, pulling over, and Steele gets by. I'm not really sure what just happened. It looked too easy. Did Marquez, while I was looking elsewhere, did he potentially have an issue? And meanwhile, we did get Riley Thompson into the pits, who resumes in second place. Henry Bennett, 14 seconds adrift in third. They've both now made their final stops. Christian Steele, of course, has made his final stop. Cesar Manzato in fifth place has made his final stop. So now this effectively moves Christian Steele up into third, as Andrew Marquez is now in the pits. So, in fact, there was a moment. Let's go back and see what's happened to Andrew Marquez this moments ago. Andrew pulling to the inside. Perhaps we can go back a little bit further and see if we can figure out what exactly happened for Andrew. He's quite competitive through this point. He just seemingly pulls over and has an issue. Lets Christian go by, and then no note that he has crashed or anything or had damage. So either case, it is now this man, not this man, this man, Danilo Piazza. With 13 laps to go, he still needs to make his final pit stop, but he does, in fact, lead the 2021 IndyCar iRacing Series Round 6, the Detroit Grand Prix at Belle Isle. He is still in front. Now, not much can really help him to stay out front, but it's always a good thing to show those laps led in the results sheet. And feels good to know that at one point you saw the front of the field, no matter how you did it. But it's this man, Riley Thompson, the American. I believe that's Andrew Marquez just up in front. Or no, maybe that's, excuse me, that's Seppa up in front. Marquez has now fallen, or he is in sixth. There's Marquez. So Riley Thompson up in front. Danilo Piazza pits from the lead, and that hands over the lead to Riley. Second on track would be Henry Bennett. And there you can see the battle for second place as Danilo Piazza and Henry Bennett pull out their swords and do battle right here on VirtualRacing.Network. This so crucial for championship points, with Adam Crane and Hugo Olsson not present today, a high strength of field. And so this will have lasting implications for the championship. But Henry would love, I'm sure, to get up in front of Danilo. I'm sure he's already checked off not being able to catch Riley at this point, but Danilo seemed like an achievable objective, and Piazza really coming up with the overcut strategy really working for him. And once again, I'm getting a note, Rob Unglenix having another moment, this time straight on in turn one, and I guess that's it. Rob back to the pits. Perhaps he's had enough and has decided to park it for the moment. But this battle continues to go on, and Henry Bennett is a half a second back, but not checked out completely. So while we can, let's continue to go through the field here. Henry Bennett, as I mentioned just a moment ago, down a position today. Danilo Piazza actually up 3 places, and we have another note. The carnage continues, folks. Not huge, heavy crashes, just getting it wrong here, but still Severi Seppa having a moment and giving up a little bit of time to Andrew Marquez, who is directly in front. So Danilo Piazza there in second and Henry Bennett in third. But it's this guy, Christian Steele, the newcomer to the broadcast, putting in one heck of an effort, something we've seen from him numerous times in numerous different races. Christian up 17 places today in 4th place. So having a fantastic run. Just up the road, Cesar Manzato. It seems like I say that race or that name every race, at least on the road courses. Cesar in 5th place here, down a position, but top 5 is pretty much his name. Cesar top 5 Manzato. Because he has been consistent through the weeks. Andrew Marquez here in 6th. And he's up 4 positions today. As we get to 10 laps to go, Riley Thompson leading everybody through the field. Across the start-finish stripe, just 10 remaining. Severi Seppa here. You can see 3rd place in the Season 1 Lotus 79 Championship. And a note for anybody who's listening, if you do want to get this information into our software, just please send me a note either on Discord or through YouTube or on iRacing. You're more than welcome, Trevor Greenfield. Otherwise, you can go into the SDK driver app and attempt to update it there. However, I will be overriding everything. So please send me any information, as well as if I do butcher your name or someone else's name and you know the correct spelling, please let me know, because I want to get it right. Or the spelling or the pronunciation. And there, Hengel hopped again. This is not a replay of earlier, folks. This is moments ago. Hengel hopped. Remember, Hengel hopped was on pace to potentially take over 2nd place, and there he dives straight into the pits. And here, Hengel-Hopt has had enough damage that he has to pull into the pits to fix the car out of 10th position. So now we continue to look through the field, and we can see Doriano Ricciuti, of course, had an incident earlier, several incidents seemingly in a row, but recovered okay. Now in 8th place, up a position. Brendan Burcroft here in 9th place in the familiar Alex Rossi livery. Running in 9th, down 2 spots. And Chris Willite, as you can see, the 2021 iRacing Indy 500 race winner, struggling here on the street circuit. And of course, in real life, the series doing a similar maneuver, going from the Indianapolis Oval to the Detroit street circuit. And what a difference between the two. Obviously, you can see Chris struggling a little bit here to match the pace of the leaders, off by about a second a lap or so, but still hanging on to 11th and up 7 positions. Matthias Kraus, 5th place in the championship at the moment. He's actually he's lost 1 position on the day in 12th. I suppose he's probably considering that he could pass Chris Willite, and we're watching this intensively to see if that does happen. 7 laps remaining as we get through the field here. It's Laura Gearhart, who's actually up 7 positions today in 13th. Nevertheless, Laura having a couple of moments in traffic, and I believe made contact, though doesn't quite show that on our screen. Marcel Kovacs did crash earlier, or at least got it a little wide. So we're getting notes from Adam Crane, who is in our chat room, our championship leader at the moment, saying that Henry Bennett actually has more push to pass, and he's of course correct. I suppose that's something I can actually look at and utilize as data information or something. So why don't we look back up at the front? Here's Henry Bennett. He does have 7 pushes to pass remaining. Piazza has 3 pushes to pass. Steele with 0. So Steele has gone through all of his P2P. And then Cesar Manzato, who's just behind, has 3 pushes remaining. Riley Thompson not used any push to pass, and we're getting another note. What has happened here? Moritz Engelhaupt again having a moment, and this time slamming. Oh my goodness, so difficult. As we see a driver come around the corner, and I'm hoping this doesn't lead to our next driver crashing. No, it doesn't. Okay, so I've got another note. Severi Seppa, oh, a huge crash. That's just, we need to go back and take a look at this incident, as we've got, I believe, 5 laps to go. Oh, just a huge, huge impact. I'm not sure exactly what led to it. Did he get too close? No, the back end just got around, and little overcorrection for Severi. That probably is going to do it for him today, as he might be able to get into the pits, but most likely will have to take... Nope, does not have to take a tow. Was actually able to drive it in, but a lot of drivers having issues. These are all championship drivers who have many, 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 many races under their belts, but it shows who really is able to hang on and who really is potentially the championship contenders here as they start to emerge. 5 laps to go, and this man, Henry Bennett, is definitely thinking championship at the moment in 3rd place, but it's Riley Thompson who's just gotten around. You can see Mateus Kraus there in front, or in behind, excuse me. And I'm seeing another note. Doriano Ricciuti again has had another incident, but Riley has done nothing wrong today. He's kept it perfect. There's been no reports of any incidents. His times on pit road have been quick. And to be honest, his pit lane procedures haven't even been a factor. He's had so much pace today. Just last lap, doing the fastest lap of the race, a 1:13.88 for Riley Thompson, who is just on fire, in the groove in this machine. Only 4 more laps remaining here. Certainly looking very strong. One would question if Adam Crean and Hugo Olsson had been in this race, might Riley have been able to give them a good run for their money? It's possible with that kind of pace, but nevertheless, Riley will, if he can complete the job here, just another 4 more laps to go, he will be looking at maximum points payout and a healthy iRatings boost, because this is an official series, and racing in week 13, there's not many official races to do, so this is actually a great way to get those iRating boosts if you're a skilled driver. So Danilo here in his debut on the broadcast Friday, up 3 positions in 2nd place, just really having a fantastic day. Henry Bennett, one of our championship contenders. The question Henry is going to have to ask here later today is, with his 2 main rivals out not racing in this particular race, how could he possibly have gotten Danilo Piazza and kept him at bay, or possibly gotten Riley Thompson? It's you know, Riley, would you believe it? Would you believe it? A 1:13.60 as Riley starts, as we say, spamming that push to pass, but he's only used 3, so most likely using them as he just was on the button, so to speak, there on the front straightaway. Most likely just using them on the straightaway, we expect. Now looking at Henry Bennett on the button as well, getting by another driver who pulls aside, and he was just on the button as well. Let's, while we can, why don't we just ride along with Riley Thompson? He's got 3 laps remaining. He's coming around through the very final section, around the water section, the fountain. And then just 2 more corners and he'll be onto the start-finish straightaway. A little bit of a kink here. And across the start-finish line for a full lap with Riley Thompson there. Pleasure to see him turn in such a quick lap. That was actually a 1:14.54, and it appears as though the lap before he had gone even faster, a 1:13.12. So Riley putting in almost a qualifying lap there. He only went just a tiny bit faster in his qualifying lap. Riley just absolutely. Once again, I am your host, Trevor Greenfield. It's been a pleasure to have you with me all day long today, and so many of you guys in the chat room, thank you so much for chatting. Absolutely seeing over in the chat, Adam congratulating, fantastic drive by Steele, only 9 seconds off of Henry Bennett at the end. What a terrific display by Christian Steele. And again, he and many other drivers do have lots of real life commitments, and they can't always race the championship, but there is the man who has made his name known in this series, Riley Thompson, coming home with the victory here in Detroit. What a drive. Absolutely astounding, as Danilo Piazza comes in second. And again, another debut for a driver who we had not seen before this weekend on the broadcast, or excuse me, before today, Friday, on this broadcast. But what an amazing drive to second place. And Christian Steele here coming home fourth. Absolutely astounding drive. 17 positions gained. What an amazing feat that is. Cesar Manzato finishing his run brings it home in fifth, and Andrew Marquez still finishing his final lap. So Marquez will bring it home here in sixth, provided no issues. But the day belonged to Riley Thompson, who absolutely made no mistakes today and puts his name in the record books as an official winner. So we go back to our final results. We can get that to show correctly. Professionalism always here on VirtualRacing.Network, folks. Oh, what a day. And as we see Riley Thompson celebrate in front of the screaming fans here, tries to find a clean place to do some donuts in front of some fans. If you're at home, give them a little private clap. Show that you appreciate this master drive from Riley, who's quickly making a very big name for himself across all of the IndyCar competition on iRacing. People know his name, but now he is absolutely showing the results, and here today, showing some dominance. Still going at it, still trying to get those donuts in, and you see the smoke drifting off there. So yes, now I believe it's actually time for us to take a look at the final results, and we'll get that ticker off the screen. So for round 6, it is of course Riley Thompson in first place, Danilo Piazza in second, Henry Bennett in third, Christian Steele with that miraculous drive up to fourth, Cesar Manzato fifth, Andrew Marquez sixth, Brendan Burcroft in seventh, and Doriano Ricciuti eighth, Richard Crozier ninth, despite all of those net issues. So actually pretty amazing that he's able to do that. I can only imagine what that's like, having multiple members of the grid dropping on and off and trying to stay away from them. Nevertheless, finishing ninth, Chris Willide in 10th, Mateus Kraus in 11th. He will definitely see himself drop back in the points. And then Severi Seppa has to question what happened today. A couple of different incidents. Lord Gerhard just having some incidents in traffic and having to get the car fixed. Kovacs actually having some more incidents. Gomez Engelhaupt, of course, kind of one of the main stories of today. He finishes 11 laps back, but Hengelhaupt actually was as far up as potentially going to take away second from Henry Bennett at the time, but having a couple of different incidents, and that will put him all the way back in 16th, the final running order. Rob Unglenix in 17th, Paul Jourdain, multiple crashes and other incidents there in 18th. And we finish out the running order with Stefan Petrat there 19th, Sabe, Lamb, Finland, Haglund, Newsom, and Slavonic running out our full 25 car roster here today. So it was absolutely, it was like a textbook demonstration of how to run a race if your name is Riley Thompson. And we said his name a lot. I don't know if you caught that, but we sure said his name a whole bunch of times. Riley Thompson was absolutely on rails today. He had absolutely no problems getting anything done that he wanted to get done. And as far as he was concerned, this was his race from the very beginning. He qualified on the pole, and he never gave it up. He executed perfectly in the pits. I mean, this was just textbook. I mean, I feel like I was talking about a certain other couple of drivers who aren't competing in this series who seem to be able to do this kind of competition weekly. It almost looked like an Adam Crane-esque run, to be quite honest. Adam frequently having these types of runs, but Riley didn't have to face the likes of Adam Crane nor Hugo Olsson in this battle. He just had clean air, was able to walk away with the win. And so then we also see Danilo Piazza, who absolutely had a fantastic drive today, bringing it home in second place. He had a couple of great moves with Henry Bennett earlier, and so he managed also on pit stop strategy to overcome Bennett. So Bennett, of course, our championship contender and one of the absolute winners of the day, because he did manage to hold on to his machine for third place. So now taking a look at the points, we are live right now, ladies and gentlemen, and I see that Henry Bennett got 181 points. That officially will, according to my scoring, put him in the lead, at least over Adam Crane. I'm not sure about Hugo Olsson. I'm not sure how that will correct out, but that will allow Henry Bennett to overtake Adam Crane in the points as we go into the remaining races of the week. So an absolute pleasure to have you joining me today. This was a typical street race with lots of action and lots of individual strategy and just trying to hang on to the car. As always, my name is Trevor Greenfield, and I appreciate you joining us here on VirtualRacing.Network. That is it for this particular broadcast. Now, actually, let's go ahead and go back so we can take a look at the upcoming schedule. I do not have it all in a fancy overlay, so you're going to have to forgive me. I've been working on other stuff. I'm also calling the US IndyCar League, and we're just working on lots of cool different updates. And by the way, if you're not part of the US IndyCar League, you can certainly check out the broadcast here on VirtualRacing.Network. That's happening Sunday mornings. They are in a 4 seasons a year race, however that works out. 4 seasons, just like the regular official series are. So check that out on VirtualRacing.Network as well. You can see the rest of the schedule. We just did Detroit. Our next race will be Road America, and that will be next week. So stay tuned. You can go straight to our YouTube channel and like and subscribe, and then also mark to get notified for that race. So go ahead, and you will be automatically notified when it is time for us to go live and broadcast that next Friday. Then, of course, you see Mid-Ohio directly after that. We'll bring up the second part of the schedule. So then we go to the week of 7. Can't quite see it on my screen, but you can there. Sometime in July, we're going to Montreal. And then it's Sonoma and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the road circuit again, because the real life series also goes there. And so then after that, it's the Gateway Worldwide Technology Oval, one of our only couple of ovals on the entire calendar. Then Road Atlanta, who just got a brand new graphics update, should be a lot of fun. The ever excellent Laguna Seca, and then finally the rather new Long Beach Street Circuit will be great to see the whole field there. One final note while we're here, for those of you who maybe have a quick question about what the difference is between the three different series, this is a little, it's not great, but it's a good graphic that at least basically explains what the difference is. And so you have the Indy Road Open series that has an open setup. It's got 4 seasons per year, and it races every other hour on the service. It's on the o'clock on the iRacing service. Now that also requires essentially a B license or a C 4.0 license. It is the highest requirement of the 3 different series that are official on iRacing. So the second series would be the Indy Fixed Oval series. Now that is fixed. It's primarily ovals, so you don't have to do any setup tweaking at all. There's cockpit adjustments, so that's why I have an asterisk next to fixed, is that you can actually adjust your roll bars and your weight jacker, and that is an absolute it is imperative in the races to keep adjusting those different things. They also race every other hour. It's just slightly behind time-wise the open series, so frequently if I don't make an open race or it doesn't go official, a lot of times I will try to sneak into that fixed series. And then finally, you have this series, the IndyCar iRacing series. Now, this is an open series. It's only run once a year, and it goes through the summer. So if you're not competing in it yet, you won't get another chance this year, but you can still do some races. So this runs on Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, practically. If you're talking GMT, of course, it's the next day ahead most of the time. But Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's 2 slots available to race in on Sunday. And the other 3 days are 1 slot each. And that is on alternate weeks. So anyway, that gives you lots of info about the series. We look forward to seeing you next time at Road America. Once again, I'm Trevor Greenfield. This has been live, uninterrupted coverage of the 2021 IndyCar iRacing series on VirtualRacing.Network. So bye for now, ladies and gentlemen. See you next time.